Welcome to Football with Cheese. All right, first round is over. It was a lot of fun. There were some expected picks, but there were a lot of surprising picks. A lot of trades toward the end of the first round, like we predicted here at Football with Cheese. So in this video, we're going to recap the first round. We're going to go pick by pick. Then I'll give you some winners, give you some losers, and then later this afternoon, I'll release my second round mock draft. But first, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe and also the notification bell so you never miss one of my videos. I cover all 32 teams on this channel and obviously lots of NFL draft coverage. So let's just get right into it. There are a couple picks you'll see I absolutely hated, and I will trash those teams. So the first pick obviously was Fernando Mendoza. I had him 5th on the board, but really 1 through 5 are rated pretty much the same. We knew he was going first. Great kid. It's unbelievable how he speaks in the interviews. It's like his brain processes answers so fast. That's why people call him Chat GPT. If he processes defense like that, he could be really, really good. Daniel Jeremiah comped him to Matt Ryan. I like that comp. I had not heard that one before. I was thinking Carson Palmer. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. What do you think is a good comp for Fernando Mendoza? David Bailey went second to the New York Jets, edge rusher, Texas Tech. We had him 8th on the board. We were just not as high on Bailey as some other people. You know, he had that incident where he stomped on an NC State player and he shoved the cameraman after they lost to Arizona State. So that worried us a little bit. He is so gifted, though. Speed, get off. He has all the tools to be amazing. Not a great run defender. Just thought there were 4 or 5 better players on the board, but rushing the passer is so important these days. But the pick makes sense. It's a need and a very good fit for their scheme. At number 3, Arizona Cardinals took Jeremiah Love, running back, Notre Dame. We had him 3rd on the board. That's where he was taken. So I just don't love this pick. I love the player. I think he's going to be amazing. I love the fit in Mike LaFleur's offense. He comes from the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, and we've seen what someone like Christian McCaffrey can do in that offense. And Jeremiah Love, great running back, great receiving back. Here's the 2 issues I have with it. One, we saw what happened with the Raiders last year. They drafted an amazing running back talent, Ashton Jeanty, and didn't have a line that could block for him. So he didn't have a very good rookie year. Similar thing could happen with the Cardinals. It's just not a great offensive line. Really could upgrade guard and tackle. Plus, you have James Conner. No, he gets hurt a lot. You drafted Trey Benson in the 3rd round last year. And you signed Tyler Algier in free agency. This was not a weakness on the team. I really liked Tyler Algier. I thought it was the most underrated signing. And I feel bad for him because he left because he was behind Bijan Robinson, one of the best running backs in the NFL, and now he's going to be behind Jeremiah Love, one of the best running backs in the NFL. Tyler Algier is one of the best 20 running backs in the NFL, in my opinion, but he never gets to start because he's behind someone just a lot better. Oh, well. Number 4, Titans. First surprise of the draft, take Harnell Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State. We had him 12th on the board. Not as high on him as some, but we still really liked him. 12th is not bad. This was a need pick. They had to get a number 1 wide receiver for Cam Ward. I don't know anyone that had him as the 4th best player or the best player on the board. If Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles were gone, they were picking 7th or something, then no problem. But once again, Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese were on the board. Why didn't you take one of those players? We'll see what happens, but man, I just really thought the Titans should have taken one of those Ohio State defenders. Number 5, New York Giants, Arvell Reese, linebacker / edge rusher, Ohio State. We had him as the best player in this draft. We love that he can play 2 positions. I would line him up at edge mostly. He has tremendous upside. He's still learning how to become a pass rusher. He needs to learn pass rush moves, but he's such a great athlete. I think he will. He can play some off-ball linebacker. There's just so much you can do with him. His upside is off the charts. Great pick for the New York Giants. Kansas City, we had our first trade. They moved up from 9 to 6, gave up a 3rd and 5th rounder, I believe, to take Mansour Delane. Here's the thing about the Chiefs. They will use draft capital to take cornerbacks. First round draft capital. They used a first round pick with Trent McDuffie. They didn't just use a first round pick on Mansour Delane. They traded up to pick 6 to draft him. I love the player. I love this fit in Steve Spagnuolo's defense. But the Chiefs don't want to pay corners. Jalen Watson, Trent McDuffie, when they're about to be free agents, they trade him for draft capital. So they love to use high draft picks on corners, but they refuse to pay them. Just kind of strange, but that's a huge need for the Chiefs after they traded McDuffie. Even before they traded McDuffie, I consider it one of their needs. So I wouldn't be surprised if they draft another corner on day 2. 7, Washington, Sonny Styles, linebacker, Ohio State. Absolutely no-brainer. Best player on the board. He is a generational talent at off-ball linebacker. And the rumor is that Washington was ready to trade down. They had talked to multiple teams, maybe even had a deal worked out. When Styles was on the board, I'm sure they called those teams and said, yeah, click. So I love this pick for Washington. I love everything that the NFC East did in this first round. They all knocked it out of the park. New Orleans Saints, Jordan Tyson, wide receiver, Arizona State, took him 8th. We had him as the 10th best player on the board. I mocked this to the Saints. The rumor was they were going either Tate or Styles and thought one of them would be there, and he is. I love Tyson in that dome, in that offense, with Chris Olave. And one of the happiest players in the NFL has to be Tyler Shuck for getting Jordan Tyson to throw to. Number 9, Cleveland Browns. Once again, moved down from 6 to 9. Really like that they did that. They added more draft capital and still got Spencer Fano. I think they were taking him at 6. That was the rumor. In our mock here at Football with Cheese, we did Caleb Downs because we just could not pass on our number 2 player on our big board at 6. We couldn't do it, even though we talked about it's probably going to be Spencer Fano. That's the rumor. They love him. But they didn't take him at 6. They moved down to 9, still took him. We had him as the 13th best player, so not much of a reach at all. He is so athletic. He has 5 position versatility, and he fits everybody's scheme. I think his best position could be center in the NFL, but I think they'll start him at right tackle. So good job, Browns, to still get your guy and get extra draft capital. New York Giants had the Bengals pick at 10 for Dexter Lawrence, and they took Francis Maui-Noah, guard Miami, because he's going to play guard there. We had him as the 17th best player. The rumor was they were going to take Maui-Noah or Ioane from Penn State to play guard with this pick. They needed to improve the interior offensive line. That is, if Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate were both gone, which we expected, and they were. So I do like this pick. Even though we had him 17th, the reason we did is I don't think he can stay at tackle. And they're going to play him at guard, and that's the position he should play, and I think he'll be a really good right guard. I think he has Pro Bowl potential, and I think they chose Maui-Noah over Ioane because he has tackle experience. So if Illuminor for some reason gets hurt, their right tackle, then maybe he can move over there at least temporarily. So I think that's the big difference. Obviously not worried about the herniated disc in his back. Okay, so my favorite pick of the first round is probably the Dallas Cowboys, moving up 1 spot to take Caleb Downs. We had him number 2 on the board. I don't like moving up 1 spot and giving up draft capital. It was too late 5th, so that's really not much to give up. So at this point, for Caleb Downs, I don't have a problem with it. I think they were worried the Dolphins would trade down with someone else, and they probably were talking to a lot of teams. Rumor was Dolphins wanted to move back. But Caleb Downs is arguably the best college safety in the last 20 or 30 years. Not an exaggeration. He has everything you want in a safety. He has very few flaws. He impacts the game. Go back and watch the Texas-Ohio State game, not from this past year, in the college football playoff the year before, where Ohio State won the national title. They played Texas in the Final Four, and Caleb Downs frustrated Quinn Ewers that entire game. Texas kept trying to throw the ball over the middle of the field, and Ohio State was playing zone. Caleb Downs was a safety in the middle in that game, and he either broke up or disrupted almost every pass Quinn Ewers wanted to do. They had to go away from their game plan because of Caleb Downs. He impacted that game so much more than people realize. Everyone remembers Jack Sawyer against Cameron Williams. He beat him, strip sack for a touchdown, pretty much sealed the game. That's what you remember about that game. But if you just watch it on a play-by-play basis, Caleb Downs was the best player on that field. I cannot say how much I love this pick. Cowboy fans are going to love this guy for the next 10, 12 years. And he is already, in my opinion, one of the best 5 safeties in the NFL. Okay. As much as I love that pick, you know what? I need a coffee break. Here we go. By the way, yes, Football with Cheese coffee mug. Follow me on X at Football Cheese. Okay. So we love the Caleb Downs pick. Gonna try to be calm. This is why I didn't record this after the draft. I would be screaming into the camera right now. The Dolphins are retarded! Are you kidding me? Okay, I guess I will scream in the camera. You could have drafted Caleb Downs. Just take him. Caleb Downs fell to 11. Take one of the best safety prospects I've ever seen. I don't care that you need everything and you want to start on the lines. Why did you pass on Caleb Downs? And why did you take Caden Proctor, tackle Alabama? I don't think he's a good fit for their scheme. He has weight issues. He doesn't have long arms. If you're 355, 360 pounds, you need to have 35, 36 arms. His are like 33. He is very athletic for his size. I get it. He improved throughout the year. But oh my God, he cannot block speed rushers in the NFL. In fact, here on the channel, we talked about him having to probably play guard. We had him as the 25th best player on the board. You not only took him at 12, you passed on the second best player on the board for 2 late 5th round picks. This is such a Packer move. In 2023, Brian Gutekunst took Lucas Van Ness over Christian Gonzalez and Jackson Smith and Jigba. And everybody had those players higher. In fact, the rumor was the Packers were taking JSN. Guaranteed. I had Christian Gonzalez as a top 8 player in the draft. He would fall to 17, New England, and JSN falls to 20 for Seattle. And they just won the Super Bowl. And JSN is a big reason why. Okay? And when I say this is a Packer move, it's because John Eric Sullivan is the general manager of the Miami Dolphins. He came from the Packers. He learned under Brian Gutekunst. And for some reason, you cannot take a better player on your board if it's not at a certain position. You can't take a wide receiver like JSN or a corner like Christian Gonzalez because they're not premium positions. Lucas Van Ness is an edge rusher. That's a premium position. So we can't draft him. We're going to let another team have those players. Same thing here. We can't take a safety. We need offensive line and defensive line and everything, really, because Dolphins probably have the worst roster in the NFL. We can't do that. Here, Cowboys, you can have them. We're going to take an overweight, heavy foot Alabama offensive tackle at pick 12. We know the history of Alabama offensive line in the first round. It's not good. Almost all of them bust. And most offensive linemen that are over 350 pounds do not make it in the NFL. The bust rate is extremely high. This is one of the dumbest things I have ever seen in my life. You could have had the second best player on the board. You traded down for 2 fifths and got the 25th best player on the board because he plays tackle? But we think he's going to be a guard. I just cannot believe the Dolphins did this. And if you thought you were getting upgraded for Chris Greer, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Never been a big fan of John Eric Sullivan. And for some reason, the Dolphins consulted with Troy Aikman to pick the new GM. And Troy Aikman's like, we need to get someone from Green Bay. Have you seen how they've drafted in the first round the last 5 years? Are you kidding me? So why is Troy Aikman even involved? When you have a terrible owner, they hire the wrong person to consult with, and then they hire an idiot to be your new GM. This is just awful. Dolphins are just a joke of an organization at this point. An absolute total joke. Los Angeles Rams pick 13th. Oh, here we go. They took the 80th player on our board with the 13th pick. This was a shocker. Way more shocking than Caden Proctor going to the Dolphins. By the way, my dad called it. He texted me Caden Proctor, and I'm just thinking, no, they can't take him. That'd be so stupid. But he was right. The Los Angeles Rams took Ty Simpson, quarterback, Alabama. If you watch my breakdown of his, you can search it on my channel. You know that we really have some concerns. We don't like his ball placement. We don't like how he handles pressure. We don't like the fact that he only has 1 year of experience. The track record for quarterbacks that only started 1 year in college is not good. He really got worse throughout the year in the college football playoff against Indiana. Although you can argue nobody played well in that game for Alabama. But even the SEC title game against Georgia, he was awful in that game too. We just thought he's more of a third rounder, can be a really good backup. That's what we thought. Below average starter, pretty good backup. That's my evaluation of Ty Simpson. And the Rams are in win now mode. They were so close to the Super Bowl. They lost by 4 points against the Seahawks. They were 2 plays away from winning the Super Bowl because they would have beaten New England, in my opinion. They are so close, and they need a number 3 receiver or just another weapon on offense, and they need a right tackle. Those were their 2 big needs. That's it. And at the 13th pick, you could have had Mekhi Lemon or Kenyon Sadiq. Can you imagine Kenyon Sadiq in that offense with Kyron Williams in the backfield and Devontae Adams on the outside, Puka Nacua in the slot? What are you going to do with Sadiq? You can't single cover all of those guys. You have to guess. You're going to have to play zone, and Sadiq will destroy a zone. Holy crap. Can you imagine if the Rams had him or Mekhi Lemon? That was the rumor. They love Mekhi Lemon. He'd be a good fit too. I'm shocked. And apparently, according to Tom Bellisario on NFL Network, that Ty Simpson's dad is the head coach UT Martin, talked to Les Snead, and Les Snead basically told him, yeah, we're going to take your kid at 13. But the problem was that was December, and they didn't even know they're picking 13. So I don't know if I quite believe that story. It might be exaggerated. I just don't understand this. And Sean McVay looks pissed. I'm going to link the little short video. You see how agitated he is. He doesn't want to answer questions from the LA media. He's pissed. He clearly did not want Ty Simpson. I think he wanted Sadiq or Mekhi Lemon. And it reminds me of Aaron Rodgers in 2020. When the Packers drafted Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers was pissed. And I get it, because the Packers had one of the best teams in the NFL, and he wanted an offensive weapon. He wanted another receiver. He was frustrated a lot of years where the Packers would not draft a receiver in the first round. And actually, in that draft, the Packers, at least the rumor was, they were really high on Justin Jefferson from LSU. But he went 22nd to Minnesota. Green Bay picked 30. They actually moved up from 30 to 26 to make sure they got Love. I'm sure they had discussions with teams in the top 20 to try to move ahead of Minnesota and Philadelphia, because those are the teams that wanted receivers. But you can't just decide you're going to trade. You have to agree to a deal, and you have to get a fair deal. So I get why Aaron Rodgers was frustrated. So he wanted another weapon. They took Jordan Love. I'm very happy they did take Jordan Love. And Sean McVay, even though it's not a player, it's a head coach, he looked frustrated, visibly frustrated. So it just remind me of Aaron Rodgers, and I just can't believe the Rams did this. Right now, before this draft, I had the Rams as the number 1 team on my power rankings. I don't really do power rankings, but if you had asked me who is the number 1 team right now before the draft, I would have said the Rams. And after the draft, I was probably going to say the Rams too, because at 13 they're going to get either maybe Spencer Fano, he was off the board, he went 9th to play right tackle, or they're going to get a stud at pick 13, maybe come back at 61 and get a right tackle. But they got a player that's probably not going to play for 2 or 3 years. Because I think Stafford's probably got 2 years in him at least, right? 2 of the dumbest picks in recent memory, and they were back-to-back. It's obvious that the Dolphins just don't know what the draft is all about. And the Rams, well, $10 says they lose the NFC Championship game by 1 score, and they double-team Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, and they need that third weapon, and whoever that guy is fails. Yeah, that's my prediction. Okay, we're going to go quicker now. I like some of these picks coming up. Baltimore Ravens, Venga Ioane, guard Penn State. That was the most common player mocked. We had him 11th on the board. In fact, we had him mocked there every mock until the last one, because I thought he would go 10th to the Giants because of the injury to Maui Noah. So we had Maui Noah here, but this makes sense. Baltimore really had a guard issue last year. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Ruben Bain Jr., edge rusher Miami. We had him 7th on the board. I love this pick. I guess the character concerns with Ruben Bain, you can look it up, but Tampa Bay needed edge rusher help. He's a dog. He doesn't have that twitch get off, but he's got bend and he's got a great power move. And we've seen Jared Verse, similar type player, translate very well to the NFL for the Rams. New York Jets. This is the pick from the Colts. Kenyon Sadiq, tight end, Oregon. We had him 9th on the board. Absolutely love this pick. Maybe not my favorite pick in the draft because the Cowboys take downs, but maybe my second favorite pick. Sadiq is just such a unique talent. 6'3", 241, 439, and he's physical. He will go up and catch everything. He needs to improve as a route runner. Can get better there, but he's got all the tools. I have Sadiq on par with Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren, who went 10th and 14th last year. He falls to 16. For some reason, just like safety, tight end is just not a valuable position. It's not a premium position, but I think it should be. Teams that have elite tight ends, it can change your offense. So New York Jets, definitely one of the winners of this draft. Detroit Lions. Interesting pick. Not a shocker, at least the position, but at 17, they took Blake Miller, tackle Clemson. We had him 29th best player. This pick makes sense, though. He fits their offense, and they needed a tackle that could play right away. Blake Miller, 4-year starter at Clemson. They're going to move Penei Sewell to left tackle. Blake Miller will play right tackle for them. Just think there were a few better tackles on the board. Like I said, we have him 29th, but I get it. The Lions, despite missing the playoffs, have one of the best rosters in the NFL, and you have a quarterback that's not very mobile. They had to get a tackle. Okay, let me get a sip of coffee before I talk about the Vikings. Vikings at 18 took Caleb Banks, defensive tackle, Florida. Oh my God. We had him 75th on the board. At one point, he was like 55, then moved down to 65 in the last minute. Like right before I recorded the big board, I moved him down to 75. The dude is always hurt. He has a foot issue. He played 3 games, didn't make an impact at all. If you go back to 2024, he has some really good tape. Like, he has tape where he's like, okay, this guy's a top 10 player. And then he has tape where, is this guy even draftable? He is really talented, okay? He's like 6'5", 6'6", 325. He can move people. Some of his highlights, it's just, he's throwing linemen around. Just like, get out of here. No problem. But his lowlights are really bad. I mean, sometimes he just plays so high that he gets pushed off the line, no problem. Takes himself out of the play. And there's a lot of in between. He had a pretty good Senior Bowl week, didn't do much in the game, and got hurt again. So he's a huge risk, not only on the field, but with injury. And you can't tell me there wasn't someone willing to move up, because the Philadelphia Eagles traded up 2 picks later, and someone had to be trying to move up ahead of Carolina to take Monroe Freeling. Had to. So I think this is an awful pick. And Dylan Thieneman was sitting there on the board. We really like Thieneman in the channel. We'll talk about him in a second. We think the Bears are one of the winners. And Harrison Smith, retired. What a perfect fit Thieneman would be. It's a need. I just don't understand. He ends up in Chicago, which is a big rivalry of theirs. Oh, man. Minnesota Vikings. I get it. Defensive tackle was a need, but I had them, at least I was going to, put Dominique Orange, big citrus, to them in the second round of my second round mock. I kind of did a preliminary one before the first round even started. Obviously, I have to make some changes. My buddy Mr. New, huge Vikings guy, does a lot of really good content on X, has a really good take on what they're going to do with J.J. McCarthy. I'll link his X account in the description. If you're a Vikings fan, make sure you follow him. Love watching his videos about the Vikings. Okay, Carolina Panthers at 19. Monroe Freeling, tackle, Georgia. This is a really good pick for them. And we weren't as high on Freeling as a lot of people. I was worried when the rumors were that he was going top 10, maybe in high 6 of the Browns. I'm like, poor kid. Because while he's got upside, he's got big hands, long arms, he ran well, he still has some stiffness. I don't think he has top 10 upside even with the testing. 1 year experience, but I think he can be a good left tackle, not great. That's his upside to me. So I didn't love that people were mocking him in the top 10. So we have him 23 in the board, but we like him in this range, 17 to 25. And the Panthers have Rasheed Walker. He'll play left tackle this year on a 1 year deal. And Freeling can take over next year. He can get stronger and basically redshirt if there's no injuries. And like we said, he's got a high ceiling. He's got upside. So just great move for the Panthers. I do wonder, Panther fans, let me know in the comments down below. If the Lions had taken Monroe Freeling, like was the rumor, I don't think the Panthers would have taken Blake Miller. I think they would have taken Dylan Thieneman, because safety is a need. Let me know in the comments what you think, Panther fans. Okay. This was crazy. So Philadelphia Eagles trade up 3 spots to the Cowboys, which we predicted that the Cowboys would move back and take Malachi Lawrence. We got that right here, football with cheese. Just saying. But the Philadelphia Eagles trade up with the Cowboys to take Mekhi Lemon. Makes total sense. They're going to trade A.J. Brown, we know, probably to the Patriots after the draft, after June 1st, for salary cap reasons. So they needed another receiver. We had Mekhi Lemon 14th on the board. I think he fell because he's just a strange fella. His combine interview was weird. His interview at the draft was weird. Just something's awful about that dude. But on the field, he's a stud. He's a great route runner, great after the catch. I think he's going to fit well in Philadelphia opposite Devontae Smith. I just worried that Devontae Smith is not number 1, and they try to make him a number 1, but now he doesn't have to be because they have Mekhi Lemon. What's crazy about the pick is the Steelers, I guess, thought the Cowboys were making the pick, and so they called Mekhi Lemon to draft him at 21, knowing the Cowboys aren't going wide receiver in the first round. They weren't. So that got strange. There's a video out there. Mekhi Lemon's on the phone with Omar Khan, the GM of the Steelers, and he asked them, why is Philly calling me? Because he saw the area code. He knew the Eagles were calling him. And there was a guy there at the draft in his entourage who was on the phone with Philadelphia. I guess it was his agent. Not 100% sure. And he's telling Mekhi Lemon, it's the Eagles. They tried to get you. You're going to be an Eagle. And they tried to call him. He didn't answer. They still drafted him. That always worries you. He doesn't answer. It's like, did he get into an accident or something? But they decided to draft him anyway. Just crazy that Pittsburgh thought they had him. Philadelphia wisely moved up to get him. And like I said, I love the fit. So the Steelers wanted Mekhi Lemon. I get it. The Steelers' biggest problem last year on offense was yards after catch. None of the receivers or tight ends were very good at that. They had to get a receiver that could create yards after catch, especially Mike McCarthy offense. He loves receivers that win quickly and can create an open field. If you look back at the Packard teams, Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, Randall Cobb, Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, he loves receivers that can do that. So this is a perfect fit. Unfortunately, the Eagles traded up. So they could have gone Omar Cooper Jr. We weren't as high on him as some. We had him 30th on the board. So wisely, I love this pick. The Steelers went Max Iheanacho, offensive tackle, Arizona State. We had him 15th on the board. We had him as the best tackle in this class. We love his upside. We love his ceiling. He checks all the athletic boxes. He has the length. He has the character. And he doesn't have to play right away. I know Broderick Jones is hurt, but he's expected to be ready for the season. And you could play him as your long-term left tackle. I think that's what they are going to do. Troy Fontano, the right tackle, could always move over to the left side if you need him to. But I think he'll stay at right tackle. I think the long-term answer at left tackle is Max Iheanacho. And I have a message for Pittsburgh Steelers fans. I know you're probably upset. You want to win this year. Mekhi Lemon would help you do that. And what a fit that would be. But Max Iheanacho, in my opinion, has all the tools to be a franchise left tackle. And that has been a problem for a while. He will need some time. He is raw. Probably won't even play much this year. But I'm telling you, he's a dude. He is an absolute dude. Okay, we're going to have a quick now. 22, Los Angeles Chargers did not reach for a guard. Took Akeem Messidor, edge Miami. We had him 26 on the board, mainly because of his age. And the other thing that concerned me about him was when Ruben Bain was on the field and he got double teams, he did next to nothing. So he's better off as your number 2 edge rusher. But at pick 22, Chargers needed more pass rush help. Love that fit. Dallas Cowboys traded down. Got Malachi Lawrence, edge, Central Florida. We had him 24th on the board, right where we had him going. This was what we predicted. We heard the Cowboys really love Lawrence. We love Lawrence. That guy has all the tools to be an elite edge rusher. You can't tell me that David Bailey is so much more gifted than Malachi Lawrence. He's more polished. He's more NFL ready. No doubt about it. But Malachi Lawrence has those type of tools. We took a chance. Originally, we had him going late first round. We moved him up to Dallas at 20. We heard he was going first round. We loved his film. We heard he was going to Dallas, but in a trade down. That's what we predicted. Got it right. Great pick, Dallas. They are definitely one of the biggest winners of day one. Okay, Cleveland Browns, another winner in day one. 24th overall, Casey Concepcion, wide receiver, Texas A&M. We had him 16th on the board. I get it. The drops were a problem. But a lot of it was focus drops. I don't think he's got terrible hands. I don't think he's got great hands, but I don't think he's got terrible hands. I think he's the best separator in this class. I think he's great at yards after catch. And the Browns needed a playmaker on offense. They needed a receiver, and he is that guy. Man Bun is back on the TV. Oh, my God. Man Bun is back on NFL Network. And his outfit is, let's just say, flamboyant. You might as well have Caleb Williams in a dress with his painted nails on there. Might as well. That's basically what NFL Network is doing. And there should be a law that if you wear a man bun, you get kicked out of the United States. You have to live in Canada. That should be a law. I cannot believe man bun's back. Who the heck is that guy? No one in the comments let me know in my last video when I talked about man bun. I have no idea who that is. I don't recognize his face, so I don't think he's a former player. Why is he even on there if he's not a former player? Okay. 25th, Chicago Bears, Dylan Thieneman, safety, Oregon. One of the best picks of the first round. It's a big need. It's a huge fit. We had him 19th on the board. I'm still shocked he lasted this long, but once again, safety has been devalued. He has terrific range, ran a 4.40 or 4.39, but you can play a lot of single high with him because of that range. Great pick for the Bears. Still have work to do on defense, but they have 2 second-round picks. Houston Texans moved up for Kalen Rutledge, guard Georgia Tech. We had him 42nd on the board, but we heard he would go late first round. I have no problem with this pick because he might be able to play center as well, and center is an issue for the Texans. He might not even play right away because of their depth on offensive line, but he will start at least by 2027 at either center or guard. I'm wondering if they draft him to be the future center and they just want him to sit for a year because it's really hard to play center in the NFL in your first year, especially if you didn't play it in college. At 27, Miami Dolphins moved up for Chris Johnson, cornerback, San Diego State. Much better pick than their first one. I heard he was going first round. I think we mocked him to the Dolphins at 30, but they moved up. Dolphins had as much draft capital as anyone after the first round, so no problem moving up for Johnson. We had him 39th on the board, but we mentioned this many times. There's not much difference between 23 and 53. Once Casey Concepcion went 24 and Dylan Thieneman went 25, pretty much all these guys in the next 30 picks are pretty much the same. So, yeah, they really needed corner help. New England Patriots moved up to get Caleb Lomu, tackle Utah. We had him 21 on the board. Really liked this fit. Did you know that the Patriots canceled the visit with him because they thought no chance he would be there? He's really athletic. He has all the tools to be a franchise left tackle. Has to get stronger. Really has to improve his technique. But his flaws are fixable. The one thing about him and why I think he's here is some people question, does he really love the game? And obviously New England's okay with that, but really gifted player. I actually thought the 49ers would take him at 27. And if Will Campbell can't stay at left tackle, you can play Lomu there, which I don't think he can. I think eventually he's got to move into guard. Or if for some reason he can stay there, slim chance, you can make him your future right tackle because Morgan Moses, I believe, will be 35 years old. Kansas City Chiefs at pick 29 took Peter Woods, defensive tackle, Clemson. Terrible pick. We had him 67th best player. He's got short arms. He got worse every year. No doubt about it. He's got talent. But he wasn't very good this past year. I just don't understand this pick, especially with Omar Cooper Jr. on the board. He went the next pick. What a great fit that would be for Kansas City. Could use another receiver. Just stupid pick. Okay, New York Jets move back in the first round. I keep saying that. All these teams keep moving back in the first round. Do you know why teams do this? It's because you get a fifth-year option. You don't have them under contract for 4 years like second-round picks. You have them for 5 years. That's why these teams keep moving back into the first round. And New York Jets get Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver, Indiana. So I reported they like Denzel Boston more than Omar Cooper Jr. I stand by that. But once they got Kenyon Sadiq, similar player to Denzel Boston, they wanted to get a different type of receiver. Now you have Garrett Wilson on the outside. You have Kenyon Sadiq as your, big receiver / tight end. Now you have your slot receiver, Omar Cooper Jr. Really good pick by the Jets. I love they doubled down on weapons because they're probably going to draft a quarterback next year, and the best thing to do is put him in a good spot to succeed right away. So very good pick. I love what the Jets did in this draft, even if I don't love that they passed on Reese. At 31, the Tennessee Titans moved back in the first round. Bills moved down, I believe, 3 times. Oh, man, I did not like this pick at all. Keldrick Falk, defensive end, Auburn, 83rd on our board. You know what? He's a really good run-defending edge. Really good run-defending edge. That's the first thing everybody says about Keldrick Falk. It's so stupid. Your job as a pass rusher is to, guess what? Rush the passer. That's why they call them pass rushers. Okay, I guess they call them edge defenders too. Do you think anyone cares that Trey Hendrickson is not a great run defender? Do you think the Bengals cared all these years? The Saints before then? Now the Baltimore Ravens? Do you think they care? His job is to rush the passer. If the first thing you say about a pass rusher is, he's a great run defending edge, that's a red flag to me. I know he's gifted physically. I know he's got traits and upside, but he's not a good pass rusher. And if you're not a good pass rusher in college, very, very small chance you're just going to all of a sudden be a great pass rusher in the NFL. Terrible pick. Titans, what are you doing? They did not have a good draft at all. They could have taken one of those Giants defenders and then come back with Denzel Boston. That's what they should have done. They should have Sonny Styles or Orville Reese at pick 4 and then traded back in to get Denzel Boston. That would have been an amazing draft. I think they shit the bed. I despise this draft. How can Robert Salah pass on Sonny Styles and Orville Reese and then take Keldrick Falk at 31? Oh, I know why. Because he's a really good run defending edge. Did you know that? Keldrick Falk, he can play the run. So there you go. 32. Seattle Seahawks take Jadarian Price, running back, Notre Dame. We had him 55th on the board just because he's not much of a receiver, not good at picking up the blitz. It's so important in the NFL. But I love the fit with Seattle. And let's be honest, Kenneth Walker wasn't the best receiving back or picking up the blitz either. A month ago, I probably would have trashed this pick. But the more you watch Jadarian Price, the more you love him. And I heard he was trending up. So much so that the Jaguars, the rumor is, were planning on trading up into the early second round to get him if he was there. Look for them to maybe move up from Mike Washington Jr., Arkansas, because he's the only running back I have in my top 100 left. Okay, let's do winners and losers real quick. Christian Parker is my first winner. He's the new defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys because he has Malachi Lawrence and Caleb Downs. That's pretty obvious. He's got some weapons to work with. Look for Dallas' defense to be much improved next year, and hopefully they get a corner in the third round. Second winner, the 2027 quarterbacks that the Jets and Browns draft, because they got Spencer Fano, KC Concepcion with the Browns, and the Jets got Kenyon Sadiq and Omar Cooper Jr. Get the players in place before you get the quarterback. Put them in a position to succeed. My third winner is the Steelers in the long run. Maybe not in 2026, but in the long run, because we love Max Iheanacho. We think he's going to be the franchise left tackle in Pittsburgh. Number 4 winner, liquor store owners in Minnesota. When they drafted Caleb Banks over Dylan Thieneman, everyone went out and bought liquor. So the liquor store owners in Minnesota are my 4th winner. And my 5th winner is the 49ers and Bills for moving out. Once again, when KC Concepcion went 24th to the Browns, Dylan Thieneman went to the Bears at 25. These prospects, there's really not much difference between them. So why not move down and get more picks? Okay, losers. The Rams in 2026 is my first loser because they didn't get another weapon or right tackle. That's pretty obvious. My number 2 loser is the Dolphins rebuild. You're off to a terrible start. I still cannot believe they didn't draft Caleb Downs. One of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life. And my general manager of my favorite team is Brian Gundigist. Okay. Number 3, loser, Titans defense. Didn't get one of those Giants defensive players and got Keldrick Falk at pick 31. Wow. I cannot believe the Titans did that. Pretty crazy. I feel bad for Cardinal Tate. I really like him as a prospect. I just don't think he was the best player on the board. Okay. My number 4 loser is Malik Neighbors, wide receiver Giants. He was on a podcast and was visibly unhappy that the Cowboys got Caleb Downs. Not happy at all. And number 5, the Bengals long term. Okay, for this year, Dexter Lawrence, huge need. It's going to help their defensive line. But long term, like 5 years from now, when Dexter Lawrence is probably not on the team anymore, you could have Caleb Downs. Of course, they didn't know, okay? I'm going to defend the Bengals. They did not know Caleb Downs was going to be there. In fact, very likely they thought he wasn't. We mocked him 6 overall. We could not believe that he would fall to the top 10 like he did. People were mocking him, the Cowboys. Give them credit. They thought he would fall because of the position he plays. But the Bengals had to believe they weren't getting Caleb Downs to make that trade. So, long term, not having Caleb Downs, wow, they would have sold so many jerseys because he's a Ohio State player. So let me know in the comments, what was your favorite pick of the first round, least favorite pick, and who is your winner of the draft? Who is your loser of the first round of the draft? Lights Out Podcast, me and Mike, every Tuesday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Link in the description. We will talk a lot about the draft. Give me that thumbs up, really helps at the channel. Subscribe, hit the bell, all of that. Share this with anyone who loves football as we continue to grow the channel. Check these videos out if you have not, and look out for my second round mock draft in a few hours.